Welcome to the Dropship Podcast, where you'll learn how to build and grow a high-ticket dropshipping business and hear stories from successful e-commerce entrepreneurs. Let's kick this thing off. Hey, welcome to the Dropship Podcast. Back again with another good niche, bad niche. You guys seem to enjoy these. John and I seem to enjoy breaking down markets inside of high-ticket dropshipping and telling you, would you do this? Would I do this? This one's kind of near and dear to my heart. I actually own a URL for this one, so you're going to bet your boy probably likes it. But I don't. John, have you ever looked into sensory toys before?
I have not. I have to say. I mean, I think the idea has come across, my brain probably from somebody else a couple of times over the years. I mean, I'm aware of it, but is it one that I've given serious consideration to ever for anybody? Has anybody, one of our students, come and said, this is what I'm doing? I think we've had one student who's been kind of close to it, but not even exactly what you're talking about here. Which, once again, I've got to say, the last 3 or 4 of these that we've done, we did hand dryers, hand cleaners, air dryers, whatever we did, commercial cleaning. We're doing this one. I think there was another one we did recently. Nobody's doing these things. These are all ideas that I'm not hearing. So when the thing I like about that is that a lot of people out there are like, oh, dropshipping's too competitive. Dropshipping's blah, blah, blah. Literally, there is opportunities out here. It's 2023, still plenty of opportunities for people. This is another one, nobody's doing this that I'm aware of, And so, when you brought it up, I was kind of a bit surprised. I thought when you showed me some of the products on the screen and that sort of thing, and I was like, oh, well, those actually make pretty good sense if you ask me.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's new, right? Newer. I don't think this stuff existed when we were kids. There wasn't sensory rooms. Where I first stumbled on this, I'm not sure. But then I started seeing it everywhere, as you normally do. And so Target Field, one of my places I like to go to a lot in the summer, which is where the Minnesota Twins play, started advertising, hey, are the sounds of the ball field, is it too much for some children that may be with you? We have built a new sensory room at Target Field. And they had all of these products in there, and a place where you could take your child who may be in need of these things to go kind of take a break from the crowd noise, the crack of the bat, things like that are going on in a ball field. And I think that's when I knew it was really something that was kind of exploding in, I don't want to say popularity, but in need. And I'm going to guess that the children who needed this were around when we were younger. This just wasn't a thing. They kind of grouped all different types of people into one group and just said, you're going to this classroom and you're going to learn this way. And everybody else, you better learn this way or you're not normal. And so I'm happy that these products exist, but this is very new. And so there isn't a ton of defined suppliers as you would find in some more older markets, I guess you would say.
Yeah. So just going back a step, can you kind of explain to people, obviously you're not an expert either, but can you kind of give people a bit of an idea? When you say sensory toys, what are we actually talking about here? What is this? Because I would imagine for a lot of people listening to this, they're probably like, what the hell has Ben talking about? I also have never heard of this.
I want to make sure that I'm very, very clear that this can be a very sensitive issue for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I just want to come out and raise my hand that I'm an idiot. I genuinely don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. And so if I say something that is insensitive or just uneducated, ignorant, I'm sorry. I genuinely don't know all of the ins and outs of this. And so I want to make sure I'm very clear about that. But from my first exposure to this was my wife mentioning it, that, hey, the daycare her twins were at when we met had sensory products. And so if I said the word is it Orbeez or Zorbeez or something, like little balls that you add water to and they become bigger balls, and you can make little jars out of them where they kind of flow back and forth, or you can put your hands in them and it feels funny. Would you have any idea what I'm talking about, John, when I said that?
I think so.
Or kinetic sand is something else that my wife and the kids had, which is just kind of weird sand, if I'm honest with you, that gets really gross over time, kind of like Play-Doh did when we were kids. And so that was my first exposure to it. Was they had some of these things at the daycare. The kids were making sensory products to bring home. Heck, I think even they make like little bubble poppers now that are just made out of silicone, right? Where you can just like pop them over and over and over again. Our kids love them. That's a sensory toy as well.
Yep.
How I stumbled on these bigger ones, I'm actually not even sure, but I stumbled into what looks like just a little box like the size of a wallet, and had a zillion fiber optic cables coming out of it. And the little box allowed you to change it between blue, red, just change the color, right? Orange. And again, I was like, I've never seen this before. Like, a lot of this stuff is just very new to me. But when I stumbled on that product, it was over $1,000. And I was sitting there like, well, how is this product over $1,000, right? It's just some fiber optic and a little box. There's not much going on here. And that kind of led me down a rabbit hole. And I started finding bubble tubes. What else do they have in here? Bubble tubes, fiber optics, projectors, sensory projectors for the wall, bubble walls, soft play things, and then all sorts of bundles, which, I love a good bundle, John, as well as like different lighting. Honestly, again, I'm going to come off as ignorant here, but when I started seeing the products, and I started seeing, more importantly, the products, the prices, and what I really saw was like parents commenting, saying how much this like changed their child. Like, that hit home pretty hard of like, oh wow, this could be very meaningful, especially for someone. I think in an ideal world, someone in our audience has a child who's in need of these things or uses these things, and they've seen the impact these products can make. I imagine they could really take ownership of a product like this or a business like this and run with it. So that's my like slight overview of the products, John. I genuinely don't know how to describe them. How would you describe them when I showed them to you? Like, this one says, and I can share my screen here with the audience if you're watching on on YouTube or on Spotify, you can see the video here. But, how would you describe a sensory texture wheel? I mean, it says, imagine a textured color wheel that begs you to touch and explore. And it's got, like different types of carpet, different things that are going to feel different when you run your hand over it. It's a giant big wheel like you would, spin to win at some, some party you're at. And it looks like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice.
Yeah, these products are very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you can see the price tags on here, right? The wheel is $1,000. The corner bundle is like $8,000. If we click on that, it's a projector, some bubble tubes, curved bubble tube platform, acrylic bubble tube mirror. It's a lot of products put together, which is what I had to do back in the day when I eventually came on board with the golf simulator company. Was kind of piecing together a lot of pieces that I think a lot of parents or a lot of golfers at that time were piecing it together on their own, and simply making the bundle and making it available. I think parents would be thrilled with this. So,
and looking at some of these things as well, which are on this site very high ticket, can certainly tell you, like, a lot of them feature lighting, and as people know, I was in the lighting space, many years ago now when I first started out. These are definitely products that you could very easily get your own version made of under your own brand as well. Like, once again, further down the track, not where you're starting at dropshipping, but these lighting products particularly, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, at these price points, the margins are ridiculous for whoever is making these products. They're not cost anywhere near that much to produce these things. Some of them are a bit more involved than others, for sure, probably from a manufacturing standpoint, but some of them are pretty simple technology and pretty simple products these days to put together. So,
yeah, this doesn't look like anything to me. Like this, I got to believe the margins on this are like 90%.
Yeah, look, once again, somebody who's listening may know well more about this than we do, and can feel free to get in touch and say, hey, you idiots.
Yeah, we might be. Very well might be idiots. Again, disclaimer.
Looking at the products, and, I've sold products, not for this use case, but similar products in terms of the what's actually goes into producing them. And so I have some insight into some of these products. And there are certainly plenty of companies. I mean, these products are produced in China for sure. Maybe they might be assembled in the US or other countries, but you can get them made in China on bulk pretty easily. There would be like thousands of factories making these sort of, like, the things that go into these sort of products, for sure.
Let's talk about it as if a student Which, by the way, if you sign up for our course or the 5-day challenge, dropshipbreakthru.com/5, you send an email off to John or myself where we would review your niche selection. So let's imagine, John, somebody sent this over. Some of the spreadsheet that we fill out is like, how many suppliers are there? How much competition is there? Both of those numbers are going to be quite low here. This is an emerging market, if you will. It's already pretty big. Just go look at the traffic numbers on it. But there's not a lot of suppliers, right? There's not a lot of competitors on the marketplace. And so, like, where would you start with this? Hey, remember Holly? Yeah, episode 212. From $0 to $500,000 in 5 months. Holly is one of our best students, and you can hop on a call with her right now at dropshipbreakthru.com/call. If you're listening to this, I know you're thinking about starting your own high-ticket dropshipping business, and what better person to speak to than Holly, who is a shining example of what can be done starting your own business. So hop on a call with Holly, see if joining Dropship Breakthru is right for you. dropshipbreakthru.com/call.
Well, I think, yeah, it's a good question. And a lot of the times I think we talk about not going for the sexy new products. You know, like if we think about some of those things over the years, like drones or, I don't know, e-bikes, to pick our favorite whipping horse. Or, you know, there's been a few others. Infrared saunas. Once again, you see, you know, these newer, sexy products sometimes have issues that arise in the markets. We try to steer away from them. But I kind of feel like, while these products are a bit newer, it's not that sort of thing. To me, but yeah, there's going to be much lower competition. There's going to be less suppliers or less obvious suppliers. I think, like I say, like I would have to do more research for sure. But if you were breaking down into the different product, like individual products that are in this space, obviously, I mean, you just showed a site on the screen that had a whole bunch of bundles. Right.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's all they were. Those sort of 7,000, 8,000. I think there was some on there that were like $15,000 products. Were really just bundles of a series of products that are being put together. Right. So you're kind of not looking for somebody who's got those bundles that can supply you. You're looking for the individual component parts and probably putting together the bundles on your site, as well as selling some of those individual parts as well by themselves, which you could definitely do. So, you know. Maybe some of that will be looking at potential overseas suppliers as well, you know. But, you know, where there's less competition in the market, you can probably get away with fewer suppliers than you might for a more established niche that has more competition. But, I mean, there's, you know, this is one of those areas where your target market is, you probably couldn't find a more passionate ideal customer.
Yeah.
Right. Parents of children who, you know, gain a benefit from interacting with these sort of products. Like there is no more passionate customer than that. Right. And so if you can put yourself squarely in that space and make a place for those people online, that there's going to be a huge benefit for you there. Not to mention as well, as you've mentioned, there's also a B2B side here, right? So you just mentioned like the twins, Target Field put one of these rooms in. So they've had to go and source the product somewhere to put in that room. You've got to think there are
schools,
educational organizations who are putting these rooms together, other community spaces that are putting these rooms together. Like, I mean, I think there would be lots of stuff on the B2B side, and being as it's a market that people are probably gaining more awareness of, you know, both from a B2B side and a B2C side, you know, there's probably parents out there right now who are wondering where's a great reliable place I could, you know, acquire some of these products. And I would say that, you know, they might be looking at them, some of the places overseas and seeing manufacturers and stuff, but having trouble finding, you know, like retailers based in their country that they trust. So, you know, it kind of feels like there's a pretty good opportunity here to me. But I would say it's probably going to be in the opening stages. I wouldn't think it would be quite as clear cut as, say, if you're going after an established niche that, one of the ones that people regularly might think of when we talk about high ticket dropshipping. Like, you're probably going to have to dig a little bit deeper with the suppliers, and to find the suppliers, and you might need to have, more sort of discussion with them around how dropshipping works and all of that sort of thing, because I would reckon there'd be people selling these products who haven't been asked to dropship them before. I could see that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't appear that anybody's really dropshipping them yet. So,
yeah, and there's not a lot of names, right? Oftentimes in dropshipping, you're winning on brands. People are searching for brands. They're comparing brands. They're looking for use cases. This is going to be one of the more generic ones, which I actually think is a little harder. There's a way more upside, but there's a much lower floor, if that makes sense. Like the established markets have brand, product name, search volume that you can go attack right away, and there's a nice floor there. With a lower ceiling because there's more competition. It's more in the established market, whereas this one's going to be a much higher ceiling, but a much lower floor for you to get started. I will say, I went searching for some of these on wholesale markets, John. Wow, do I like this pricing? Like, I think there's a real opportunity to set up your store, start selling other things, own the market, and immediately start launching your own products into this, like we teach in our course. And huge margins. I would say this is one of those where I love marketers as much as I love marketers. A marketer is going to destroy this market in a bad way, in my opinion. I think this is meant for someone who has a real foot in this market. They have a child like this. They're a teacher who work with children like this. They have experience with these products and what they can actually do. And someone who's really passionate, I think, could really have a lot of success here. So much so that I'd put my money where my mouth is. I own a domain. I own sensorytoyshq.com. I would throw that in there, and I'd invest in the right person to do this immediately. To me, this is one of those opportunities you don't see very often.
Yeah. If you're listening in, there's the offer. You want Dropship Breakthru in your corner, as in the Ben and John team. We'd be into this for sure. But I agree. I think it's definitely I don't think this is a niche for somebody who just wants to dropship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just need to start a dropshipping business at any cost sort of person, right? Because I do think it would be a bit more work and a bit slower in the beginning. But once you get in there and make the space your own, you're going to be the person in that market kind of thing. And like you say, easy to bring your own products in, brand up your own products and all of that sort of thing. Probably a lot easier than a lot of other high ticket niches out there, I would say, from looking at the products and what's involved with them. So man, content, it's not a competitive space. So imagine doing the SEO in here. It's going to be, you want to rank for relevant keywords, easy, comparatively easy.
I got to say, can I shift subjects real quick, John? Because when you're an entrepreneur, you probably heard the term shiny object syndrome. Mm-hmm. This is what that is to me. Right now, I'm looking at these prices on how I could import these, the minimum order quantity and the pricing, and how easily we could launch one of these products under its own brand. I'm not that person. I'm a marketer, right? I see the opportunity here, and this is shiny as shiny can be right now. And so maybe this is a good time for you to slap me up as my coach here, John, as my business partner. Be like, hey, stay focused here. That's not the time to have a little side project, because this is this type of stuff that gets me excited when I stumble on ideas like this, and there's this much opportunity, this much margin, and more importantly, this much impact that seems very tangible, right in front of you. This is so shiny to me, really, really shiny right now.
Yeah. And so here's the difference though, where I don't think you're on the wrong track, is that you can recognize that, right? So this is the problem people have with shiny objects, is they actually don't recognize it's a shiny object, right? But you're also recognizing your limitations in this space. So you are a marketer and you could bring that to the table, but you're not at a place where you can be the operator.
Yeah.
Right? So you've said,
but I could launch this
if there's
in
an
my free
operator
time
out there,
in a week. It's not that hard to do this stuff.
No.
I know a lot of people listening have never done anything, and it seems like the enormous, but literally, if you got the cash, which I'm looking at 1 to 2 G's probably, could get this started. That's really tempting.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you've actually got to run that business. You got to grow it, and there's a lot of work there, right? And so that's what I'm saying. neither you or I are at the point right now where we're starting something new from scratch makes sense, generally speaking, like one of these businesses. So we're more at the point where we can bring our experience and skills on the marketing side and the strategy side to bear through partnerships. That's what we're doing. And so I think you're on the right track. You're saying if there's an operator out there who's passionate about this niche and is a good person, I'll help you. So to me, that's not shiny object syndrome, because that's what we do, is help people to build these businesses and build them better. So, like I think I can see I'm the same. I can look at these products and go, man, I can imagine what the margins are if you were producing your own products here, and I'm pretty sure they'd be insane. So and if people are paying that amount of money,
I'll show you afterwards. They're crazier than you think.
Awesome,
but it's wild. Look, for dropshipping, I think this is the right answer. And I mean it. I will donate the URL, and John and I will literally invest in the right person here. You got to be. We have two qualifying things. Are you the right person? And then do you have the right fit here? And so, like, number one is like, are you a good person? And John and I have pretty good sniff detectors. And then number two, like, are you the right person to do this, to pull this off? I think I would make an investment right away. This is a huge opportunity, not only in dropshipping, but starting your own brand here too. So, and then you said, John, the last few times that we've come on here, there are industries you hadn't really thought of, or that you haven't seen students get on calls and ask about. And I don't feel like I'm doing anything special when I stumble on these. I'm just like, I have an unlimited curiosity. And when I stumble on an idea, I go research it a little bit. And so I think the more you're exposed to e-commerce, to high ticket drop shipping, you're just going to start seeing everything through a different lens. Like, I can't drive by. I eat Panera salad every day for lunch, and I drive by this like power tool shop on the way by, and every time I see something a little different outside, I'm like, oh, you could probably sell that. Like, there's just everywhere you go, you're going to run into high ticket ideas. So initially, if you're listening to this and you're struggling to come up with your market, spend some time sitting in it. Like, you're first going to come up with the same 50 ideas everyone comes up with. And I would encourage you to go deeper than that. Our 5-day challenge can help you with that. Dropshipbreakthru.com/5. But more importantly, just start making yourself aware, and your reticular activation system will just start this has always been here, but I didn't know you were paying attention to that. It'll start showing you things that had already existed, and you'll start stumbling into ideas just like this. And if you're like me, you'll start buying up URLs you'll never use, but like there's ideas everywhere. There's so many ideas, and there's even more popping up every day. And so I don't know. I just stumble on it. You have any ideas on how people can stumble on it, John? Just like, I would imagine you run into things naturally and you're just like, oh, that would work. Yep, that would work.
Yeah. Look, I think part of that is a time and experience thing. And it's not just like product ideas. It's just like ideas in general. And I think of it is a mindset shift that happens around how you view opportunities and money as well. So like, I think, before I'd done anything, if you talked to me about, John, what are business ideas that you could go out and start right now? I would have been like, oh, fuck, I've never done anything before. Like, I wouldn't have trusted my brain. I couldn't come up with ideas. I felt stuck for a long time because there was a long period where I knew I wanted to be in business, and I was always like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. You asked me that question today. Like, I mean, if you said to me, John, you have to come up with a new business that you're going to make money from in the next 24 hours, or, something bad's going to happen, I guarantee you I'll come up with like 10 businesses I could go and start tomorrow. Right? Just because I've done it, like spotting an opportunity, seeing a problem that can be solved, just becomes like kind of like a muscle. It gets bigger the more you think about it, right? The more you flex it. And so I agree. Usually the first ideas that you come up with are going to be the worst when you think about ideas to sell. I don't know if there's a way you can sort of speed that up, other than probably just to say, like, sit with it a little bit. Like, I mean, there's always a balance between moving and making progress and just sitting there analyzing things. And what we're not talking here about analyzing things like getting an idea and thinking about it for the next 3 months. But like, I don't know. It's a tough one.
For me, it's like, I think being naturally curious helps. Like, it's a reason people have told me I'm decent at podcasting, right? When I ran the BK show, I was simply interviewing people whose businesses I thought were cool. And so I just wanted to ask them a bunch of questions about their business. And so I think being curious is helpful. Like, everyone you run into has something to teach you. And if you can frame it through the high ticket dropshipping lens, they're into something you're not into. Just start asking them questions about it. You're going to stumble into passions that they have. And some will be markets you can go into, some will be people you can serve, and some won't. But like, I don't know. I took that from my mom, man. Just that everyone, no matter who they are, has something to teach you, and it's something you can learn from them. And everyone's interesting in their own way. And so I've just always been really curious, and I think that's helpful.
Yeah. So, well, let's just go back a step. Like, how did you come across this idea? Like, you popped this up to me the other day, and said, "Hey, we should talk about this on the show." Was it the experience at the Twins game at Target Field?
Yeah, I don't recall. Yeah, I don't recall the genesis of this one. I brought it up the other day because I got the email. It was like, your domain is renewing. So, right. And I think it was renewing for the second time. I've had this for 2 years. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I stumbled in. I want to say it had something to do with my stepchildren, and just like, them being somewhere where there was sensory things, and we started buying Orbeez or Orbeez or whatever they were called at home, and building these, like, we would take old Justin's almond butter jars and clean them out and put the Orbeez in there and turn them into like things that we could put dye in, and the Orbeez or whatever. And so I think I just slowly stumbled into it by having some stepchildren. And but I genuinely don't remember the exact moment where I was like, what else is there?
Yeah, I think it's natural. I think natural curiosity is like having that is part of it. And I think that is something you can work on. Something I've certainly noticed in my time on this planet is that I sound like such an old person, which I'm not, is like a lot of people just kind of go through their day not paying attention to what's happening around them. Right. And I notice this, and like this, once again, this is not a criticism as such. It's just saying, like, I tend to be a fairly, like, if you hang out with me, I'm a pretty quiet guy generally. Like, that may sound strange if people have been sitting here listening to me talking all the time. I never talk this much. This is like doing the podcast, doing videos for our students is like way over talking for me. I prefer to sit, listen, and just watch what's going on around me. Like, if you're in a room with me, like at a party and there's 20 people, I'm probably the quietest guy in the room normally, right? But I see a lot of what's happening around me. And I think that just translates to when I'm walking down the street, I'm looking at everything. Right. And I see all the things and I'm like, that could be a high ticket dropshipping product, or that could. But some people aren't quite like that. I think they have a bit more of a narrow vision, and they kind of speed through things. And I think our 17-year-old child is like this. Like, he goes through and he doesn't notice anything. And like, he'll be like, where the fuck are we? And I'm like, dude, you've been here like 10 times. Like, how do you not know how we got here? Stuff like that. I'm like, I don't understand. And he just doesn't pay attention as widely as I do. And I think, so like coming up with the ideas, I think it's just, for me, it's always just been like going through life and seeing the things. Do you know what I mean? Like, my ideas for high ticket dropshipping, my niche lists that I've built from time to time have just been things that I've observed through the course of my life. Not like I've necessarily always gone out specifically looking for what are the high ticket dropshipping products I can find, because I think if I do that, I actually find it very restrictive, right? And I stop seeing things. So I think, you come across these things every day. It's just high ticket dropshipping products are often really boring everyday items that you probably don't see. They're there, but you don't see them, because when you're thinking about products, you automatically put yourself into the mindset of, I've got to find this special product or this thing that nobody else sees every day. And so you put yourself into the mindset of the perfect product and all that sort of thing. And that mindset actually makes you ignore all of the things around you, because you're looking for the special thing, the secret thing, the big shiny object thing, the sexy product. When really, I think a lot of the time, just as you're going through your day-to-day, you're walking through the shops, you're, going to your local fitness center, you're picking up your kids from daycare, you're driving your car down a road. Like, just be aware of what's around you, and like actually turn on your curiosity and just look at objects and think, how did that get there? Somebody bought that to put that there. I could sell that and put that there. Like, that's, I don't know. If I could explain it, I think that's probably a really jumbled way of explaining it. But when I think about how I see things, in the same way that you've probably just seen these products somewhere and automatically thought, that's something I could sell. Whereas I think a lot of people actually just don't see things.
Yeah, here's a good example. My family and I went to Seattle for a week right after our event just to take a break. And we went to the Space Needle, and it was hot as piss in Seattle, which is not normal, breaking records that week. And they had this power mister there. I took a picture of it. And I just thought of it now of like, we were just walking in and, it was hot. So we all stood in front of it for a little bit. And I'm like, oh my God, I bet that's like $5,000. Sure as shit. Yeah, it's like $5,000 to $8,000 here. This is a fantastic product for part of a high ticket dropshipping store. Like, you just kind of stumble into stuff. For me, it's more, it's not even high ticket products. It's like, I'm curious about everything. Every business I drive by, I'm like, how do they attract customers? What do you think their margins are? Where are they making money? How often do they need to be there? Just like every business to me is super fascinating. And so I don't know. I think it's curiosity for me. And like you said, once you just start opening your eyes, all of a sudden, it's like I learned a new language when I got into business. Like, it was a whole different world existed that I didn't even know existed. And it powers the whole world, right? Like, a lot of people, we should do a show on this. Like, I did a little short on capitalism, and we had people jumping in there talking about how
hilarious.
These huge corporations are fucking destroying us and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, yeah, but what about the 33 million small businesses in America? Like, that's what's actually powering America, not these big conglomerates that you think are, destroying your life. That's what these are, man. Like, if you just start a dropshipping business that makes a couple grand a month, you're one of those small businesses. And like, hopefully it gets you to 5, 10, 15 grand a month, and you can have a great life on, a quote unquote lifestyle business. And you're solving people's problems. You're helping a lot of people. Like, I don't know. I love small business. So I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this rant anymore.
You capitalist pig dog.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah. You're the worst, Ben. Yeah. Look, I think, the advice is like, as you get, like, if you're not somebody who naturally kind of sees those opportunities, like it does come to you with time. But if you want to speed that up, you have to be mindful of it. Like, you have to make yourself do it. So just sit your ass down somewhere, go out somewhere, sit down and look around. Like, literally just look around, look at all the things, look at the things that businesses are using. Don't just think about things that people are buying in a shop as the products you can sell. Look at things that people use, right? Business are using. You see some guys building a road over there. What tools are they using? Like, there's like that thing you just put up on the screen. I literally know one person who has sold that product. In the last 9 years, I've been talking to people about what products they sell. Ben just put up another idea on the screen for you people. Like, literally, there's going to be power misters or whatever the crap they were. Go and sell them. Like, if you're sitting around looking for products to sell, there's an opportunity there.
Might be a little seasonal, I think. Might be,
but so what? Find some opposing products. Like, people use them in the summer. What are those businesses using in the winter to keep people warm, or to deal with ice, or to like, there's going to be an opposing side to that. Go and find it. Like, yeah, totally.
All right, we should do a sensory toys. What do you think? Thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm going to try my new. Look at that. Thanks, Apple.
Look at that.
I don't even know if that's on the little screen.
On here, it's going to be like cha-ching.
There's got to be some
thumbs up
explosions or something. Yeah, sensory toys. Yeah. Thumbs up from me. I'm a big fan of this this market for sure. I think it's going to take a special person, and John and I would love to invest in you if you are that person.
How do people get in touch if they would like to talk to us about that?
Yeah, look, I think the easiest way is always the Dropship Try Facebook group. If you're not a Facebook person, shoot us an email. I hazard to tell you where to email this, but it's just our names at dropshipbreakthru.com. I think you can figure it out. So shoot us an email. If this is you, we'd love to help you out. And if you have other ideas for this type of episode, we're kind of running out. Our list is getting small on good niche, bad niche. I'm sure I can stumble on some more if you want me to, John. But I'm sure some of you at home are like, well, I've been thinking about this idea. What would John and Ben think? Throw it at us. We'll do a show on it. I think that'd be the easiest way. So, sensory toys, thumbs up. Thanks for listening to the Dropship Podcast. You can find all the show notes for this episode at dropshippodcast.com. And if you're ready to take the next step in your dropshipping journey, we invite you to join us inside Dropship Breakthru, where John and I will walk you through step by step in starting your own high-ticket dropshipping e-commerce business. But that's not all. Dropship Breakthru will also teach you everything you'll need to know to grow your business and take it to the next level. So head over to dropshipbreakthru.com and sign up for our free training that will help you take the first steps towards building and growing your own profitable high-ticket dropshipping business.